this game makes me feel like the things that I'm asking for is just like looking for the scraps. Like, just give me something. I'm scraping
Yeah.
at the bottom of the barrel here. Just give me anything. It's so many levels above what is possible in Diablo 4 that it wouldn't even occur to me to get something like this. Starfield, I've been watching a ton of videos on Starfield.
I'm going to give you a secret. You can watch any videos on this game if you want to enjoy it.
I hear you, I listen to you, I hear you, and I'm going to still watch a shitload of stuff.
Okay, all right.
I think this is a great talking point. Game of the year, who's in the running?
So Baldur's Gate 3 is going to be the obvious circle jerk for Game of the Year.
I think it's a 2-game race. Can you guess the second?
Starfield and BG3?
Nope. There's another game. A little
Do
game.
you think D4 literally has a chance at it because it's a publisher?
No.
Really?
Negative chance. I think maybe a 4% chance.
Let's talk PoE. So I'm curious, initial impressions on PoE.
I would say they're very good. When it comes to PoE, though, I think they make it unnecessarily difficult for people to get into the game. It's like they don't want. It's almost like they want to put you through like this kind of trial by fire on. Okay, here you go. Here's the test. Are you a grinder enough to even like our game? But at the same time, if you just take it slow and go through it, like I think maybe that's like an expectation I'm putting on it based on what I know what the end game is. When the game was made in 2013, it wasn't nearly what it is now. Like the idea of PoE is different, so maybe they got to like kind of reconsider it. Everyone says that the campaign is something that is just the tutorial. In the tutorial, you should be able to respec as much as you want, in my opinion. Try every build and then go with the other build.
Yeah, I watched Asmongold's reaction to my like initial impression on PoE type thing, and one of the things that he was saying was that he said the same point you did, which is basically that there should be some point in there that you can do a full respec. I think by the time you beat Act 10, like at the end, give you one full respec would be kind of nice, because I don't kind of want to immediately replay the acts, but I can see the mistakes I made on my character already. And I know there's like the orbs of regret that you can use, which is fine. I mean, I'm sure I can use them, but there's definitely a part of me in there that would have immediately enjoyed the game upon completing Act 10 to be able to go and rebuild my character again now that I know what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I definitely think I would have made some massive adjustments, and it would have given me another skyrocket of like enjoyment right after Act 10, and made me feel like the game opened up even bigger, which it does, opens up really big, which is great. It's a good feeling. But like the respec would have been a huge W as well, in my opinion. Like, yeah, I get granted, I don't know PoE that well, but like I feel like one respec at the end of Act 10, you get a one-time redo. It's a yes or no button that says, do you want to fully respec your character? Yes or no. You don't get to save it for later. You don't get to farm them. You don't get to put it in your stash. It's just a one-time. You beat Act 10. Do you want to hard reset your character? And you can click yes, or you can click no. If you click no, you don't get to use it. Just a one-time thing.
Oh, really? That aggressive?
I think that aggressive, because a lot of people in the chat are saying like, we don't want unlimited respecs and stuff. And it's like, okay, I get that, but how about one? How about one time you get a yes or no?
I was thinking like you get to do it until you reach a certain point. And once you progress, then it's like you better figure it out. Here's your chance. Yeah, this is your identity. This is your build. Because I do like that idea of like, this is your character. This is where they go. They don't get a respect. Like this is like who they are. But at the same time, like, I guess it depends on what they want. If they want to keep it a smaller player base and like these are going to be for these people and we don't want to cater to that. Like, oh, if you want to have it more casual, go play a different game. Fair enough. I'm just looking at it from the perspective of this is such a good game, but they're excluding so many potential players by making it so difficult.
It's a little stressful early because you get hit with the skill tree, which isn't actually that bad once you dig into it. The more you dig into the skill tree, the more you realize it's really not that bad, because you can even search for it and everything. The good thing about it is they lock quality of life. So the shit that is complicated is a little bit deceptive. It's not as complicated as it looks, because you can use the quality of life to make it less complicated. Like searching for, you can just type in shield and it will show you everything on the skill tree that's a shield. Or in your stash, you can just type in this, or when you're in whatever you want. When you're in the inventory screens of like trying to purchase something like a gym or whatever, you can just type in the name of the gym and it will show up. I think the quality of life makes it a little bit friendlier, but yeah, it's a little brutal in the beginning. I think the skills and like the link sockets are like the easiest thing to understand. Oh, they link together and the support does this, or what, you can just read them. But the skill tree is probably the one that's the biggest deterrent.
Yeah. Like one of the coolest mechanics of the game is the gym aspect, and let's focus on new players. Like show this cool gym mechanic and all the different things that you can do with it and make that a really targeted focus early game, because that is going to be most of your power, going to be how you get your abilities, what you can actually see. And I really like that aspect of the game. Not only that, but the support gems with it, and then the gear you get. It's very interesting, and I think that is a super cool mechanic that's not too overwhelming early, and it has massive impact to your character.
They just do all the things that you would think games wouldn't do that would just completely break the game. Like the totem thing, when I realized you can take a skill and it literally becomes a totem and the totem just casts it for you, I was like, holy shit. Like you can actually do that in this game, you know? And then when you see the Atlas tree and all that, it kind of is surprising once again.
What I also like is the integration in the game with other applications. I think probably a lot of people are going to look at it as that's a net negative, where it's like you have to find all these third-party resources. But I like that those kind of things exist, and they're really robust and well done.
And you don't even have to like do anything to make it work. Like the filter system, you just go and you click follow. You just click sign in with Steam. You don't have to make an account. Then you just click follow, like that link you sent me, and then immediately it works in the game. I can just click. I don't have to reload the game. I don't have to relog in my character. It's just there right off the bat. It's weird. It's like if stuff works the way you think it should work, which is just kind of like I'm not really used to that happening.
That whole filter system, like imagine if Diablo had anywhere close to that. Like it's so many levels above what is possible in Diablo 4 that it wouldn't even occur to me to get something like this. This game makes me feel like the things that I'm asking for is just like looking for the scraps. Like just give me something. I'm scraping at the bottom of the barrel here. Just give me anything.
You're like we're seeing there, like it would be a huge W to be able to even search for your stuff in your own stash. And then meanwhile, like this has got like search, it's got color coordination, all of this shit. And every time I mention stuff like that, it's like, well, this game's been out for 10 years. Yeah, but Diablo 4 was developed for 10 years. So what the fuck are we talking about? Like they're both have been being built for 10 years. So
exactly. Like I don't understand, especially when people say it directly to Diablo 3. They're like, well, that game's been out for a while. It's literally the same company.
It's the same year. It's 2023, baby. Like the game's out in the same year. D4 is less overwhelming because there's less stuff to do and less things to worry about. And PoE is more impressive because there's more things to do and more things to worry about. So like, if you can push past the pain of PoE, of not having to deal with the emotional roller coaster of looking out this shit and getting bodied by the fact that you have no idea what you're doing, then you'll enjoy it.
You're still playing D4, right? You're still on the bar.
I mean, I am, but at the same time, it's like I'm just big chilling. Like I am very happy with the time I spend the game, but I mean, as I've always done on these channels, I never like push the game I don't like. So it's like it's not even like I don't like it. It's just what's the point? There's no fun for me currently at the moment.
You think you're gonna swap to PoE for a little bit? Be a PoE for a week or two here?
Well, the thing I'm gonna do, like I really wanted. Eventually I am going to play Jedi Survivor, but I actually even have a calendar up. So it's like Armored Core on the 25th, then maybe 24th, I believe. If it comes out like late 24th, but we're not going to be live then. We're probably going to be sleeping when it comes out. And then so wake up early, play that. But then we have a week of Armored Core, because I think that game's going to be really fun for us, especially I think we play the single player version, but then we can 1v1 and do all the different builds and stuff like that. It's going to be sick.
I agree.
And then Starfield, I've been watching a ton of videos on Starfield, and this game, I constantly like oscillate between not excited, not excited.
For Starfield?
For Starfield, yes, because I keep seeing stuff like
I'm a rocket.
Well, rocket. Well, like for example, I'll see the character models. I'm like, that looks terrible. Then I'll see like the weapons and the ship systems and the ship customization. That looks really cool. And then I'll see like they're talking about 1,000 different planets, and I'm like, okay, well that's probably gonna suck because they're gonna, all these barren wastelands. And then boom, they show me like some of the cities, and they look really cool. And so it's like I'm constantly going back and forth.
I'm gonna give you a secret. You can't watch any videos on this game if you want to enjoy it. Like the YouTube videos are only gonna kill your boner for the game.
Why are you saying that?
It's all speculation, other than just gameplay footage. So there's a whole bunch of like speculating why it's going to be terrible, and most of it boils down to it's a Bethesda game. That's pretty much the logic, or the 60 FPS on console. And then it's a space game, which is built around exploration and discovery. And when you know already what there is, you lose the wonderment of going to a new place and discovering it. And so these games like Subnautica, No Man's Sky, etc., are best played knowing as little as possible. That's my
okay. I think that's a fair take.
I haven't watched
I
anything.
hear you. I listen to you. I hear you, and I'm going to still watch a shitload of stuff.
Okay, all right. So then we're gonna find out live when Starfield comes out. You have watched everything.
Yeah.
I'll know nothing.
I get more excited for it because I remember we did a podcast like 2 months ago, maybe 3 months ago at this point, and
Yep.
you were like talking like, I'm really excited for Starfield. And at that point, I just nodded, and I was like, I don't know what the fuck Starfield is. But 2 months ago, I went from not knowing a damn thing about Starfield to like, oh, okay, I kind of have an idea what Starfield is.
I've seen a little bit of gameplay footage, the early ones that they released like on the actual channel, like the trailers basically. And my only negative thing that I thought about so far was the gunplay looks a little weak.
If we can get anything, and then mod support on day one, I believe, is what I've heard.
Mod support day one, really.
Yeah,
That's actually pretty
believe
cool.
I believe I heard that.
So we can get loot filter in Starfield.
Kappa Kipo.
We can get loot filter.
There we go. We need Starfield builds. Have you seen the footage? I saw this on Asmon's channel, like the Oblivion, like Sky Oblivion. It's not gonna happen
Sky
until like
Oblivion?
2024. Well, what they're doing is they're taking Oblivion, but they're embedding in Skyrim assets. They're like updated, and then they're adding new content, I believe.
Really? Oblivion was a good one.
Yeah, Oblivion was fire. So my thing with when it came to Skyrim and Oblivion, I wonder if people feel this way. Whereas I played the shit out of Oblivion, and then when Skyrim came out, I was kind of I really enjoyed it, played it a ton, but then stopped playing it way sooner than I did with Oblivion because I felt like I already got that experience. This was just like a better version of that experience, or like an updated version, maybe a little different. But I had way more fun with Oblivion than I do with Skyrim. And it wasn't even like I was sitting there going like, oh, Skyrim's worse than Oblivion. It was more like I've already played so much Oblivion, and I feel like this game's like just like a 1.5 and a different story and stuff. But then I'm kind of over it a little sooner.
Yeah, I had a different experience. Like I liked Oblivion. I really like Morrowind more, but I liked both of those games. And then when Skyrim came out, like I played the fuck out of it, but it was mostly just me walking around. Like I didn't do like much of anything. I like the conjuration stuff, but yeah, they did kind of feel the same, to be honest. But it was such a big map that I like the exploration stuff. I guess that's why I'm so excited for Starfield. Like I like having a big world in which I can just walk around and like see where the things are without getting stuck, like doing a linear quest, you know?
I hope they do a guild system, something like that. Like I know it's not gonna be guilds, but like the Thieves Guild, the Mages Guild, the Fighters Guild.
Yeah, yeah.
I want them to do that, but for Starfield, and then we like join, like let's say we go in and we have to extract and like mine stuff and like infiltrate a place and have to like steal stuff, or we have to like I don't know, kill people, whatever. Basically, they could basically just like copy and paste those for like guilds, but in space. I'd be so fucking happy. That'd be so cool.
Well, I would assume we're gonna have like a mining guild and stuff like. Even No Man's Sky's got like a bunch of like. Although to be fair, No Man's Sky's got a ton of content. Did you play any other space games?
I have played almost none of the space games. I did play a little Outer Worlds, but or Outer Wilds, I believe it's called, but that doesn't even count because I think I played little enough that if I bought it on Steam, I would still be able to return it. To give you an idea.
Oh, like barely. You just barely. You got
yeah.
the Steam preview, as they call that.
Yeah, yeah. This actually, I want to get into my next topic here on like the amount of clickbait thumbnails I've seen about Baldur's Gate 3 being too good.
Yeah,
Baldur's Gate 3 is too good, and I've seen a million of them. Like, we get it. Holy shit! It's like everyone clicking them. Like, why do these keep existing?
Normally, it's games are bad as a clickbait. This one, Baldur's Gate, is like. If you don't like Baldur's Gate, you're a moron. That should be a title.
Finding the way to turn a really big positive into a negative so people click it. It's like they're always, even in something that is like purely should just be celebrated as a massive W, they have found a way to manipulate the news cycle into making it negative.
It's so good, it's bad. It went all the way around the circle.
Everyone, all the devs hate it. Yeah, and so it's like, okay, we get it. Like you can't like have any story about like, well, because I think what happens is when people say, if you think a game's good, and then we make a title or a thumbnail saying the game's good, all people are going to do is be like, yep, I agree. And then...
Yeah, move on.
Like,
The Lancer makes a good point. BG3 is so good. I'm playing a turn-based game, even though I usually hate them. I actually completely agree.
Have you looked at any footage of Armored Core 6?
I watched Asmongo react to a few of the videos, which were mostly the PvP stuff. And once I realized there's PvP and it's like 1v1, I knew me and you were probably going to like the game. So that made me want to play it because there's PvP.
Well, I think I watched that video and immediately sent you the, hey, there's PvP, there's 1v1. And so
I
I
think
was
you
like,
did
oh,
actually, yeah.
yeah, my excitement jumped like at least 2 to 3 points with the PvP.
Yeah, because I mean, if we're walking around shooting like civilians or something, in a building, blow up a building, whatever. But like if we can actually fight each other, all right, now we got something. It depends too if there's rank queue. There needs to be like a solo queue, like a 1v1 arena solo queue, or like a 5v5 solo queue. Like there needs to be that, because then this could be League 2.0 for us. We could be dual queuing.
Oh,
We're up. You can also
that'd
build your
be
mechs,
fire.
right? There's like tank mechs.
Yeah, there's tank, there's like range, there's like there's all this shit, there's all this customization. It's really cool. You know what? A game that I think is getting left behind that I think is really good, but like I think maybe it was we were playing too much D4 at the time.
Huh.
But Remnant 2 is like, I
Yeah.
think about that game and I'm like, I like this game, but with all the new games coming out, it's just not smart for us from a content creator's standpoint to go into
I was just too behind the 8 ball on that one. I started playing it like 2 days after it came out or something. But I completely agree. Remnant 2 for me seems like Remnant 2 it might have been my game of the year. Like it depends upon how Starfield is and all. Like Remnant 2 is actually like pretty high up on the list for me.
game of the year.
I know it's hard to say that,
Yeah.
especially with like me, but Remnant 2 is actually like just fucking phenomenal. Like the boss fights are good. The gunfight feels good. The different classes and the weapons you have, it all feels good. Like how the campaign
very
feels
good.
really good. It's just
I
it got
think-
overshadowed by a stack year, like you're saying. I think Remnant 2
Yeah.
is actually my game of the year. Yeah, I there's some people are saying that. In there.
It's like the fun of it's probably one of the most innovative ways to make boss battles in a shooter that I've seen in a very long time. Since like back with Destiny 1 with Vault of Glass, it's been a very long time since I've seen a shooter like from a PvE standpoint impress me like that.
When there's no issues. Like when we were playing it, we just instantly get in together. There's not issues with trying to complete something in the campaign. We didn't have bugs. It just worked, which is great.
There was one issue I had though. A skill issue. I had this big skill issue.
That one boss we both
Yeah.
had skill issues for a little while. They were trying to fight the Aurelia boss, no doubt about it.
Every boss feels fair. I just need to get good. I think this is a great talking point. Game of the year, who's in the running? Let's say how many nominees are selected for Game of the Year?
So Baldur's Gate 3 is going to be the obvious circle jerk for Game of the Year.
I think it's a race. I think it's a 2-game race. Can you guess the second?
Starfield
game?
and BG3?
Nope. There's another game. A little game.
Do you think D4 literally has a chance at it because it's a publisher? Look, I'm not saying from a consumer point of view, but you have to understand from an award show point of view. Like if the award show,
zero chance.
Really?
I think negative chance. I think maybe a 4% chance.
Oh, Final Fantasy 16. Yeah. Oh, I forgot about that one.
No, another game.
Tears of the Kingdom.
Thank you. There it is. There it is.
Yeah.
Okay. But that right there, voters forget. So I think Baldur's Gate 3 is getting way more press. For example, this happens all the time in the Oscars, where a great movie comes out at the beginning of the year, but an equal or maybe lesser than version of a game comes out or a movie comes out later, and then everyone forgets about it, and then people vote for the other one.
I don't think it's going to be Tears of the Kingdom. I don't think it is.
You don't think so?
No,
Okay,
because I actually
Spider-Man
feel like
like
it had split reviews. Like some people were
split reviews.
Yeah, I do. Because I mean, I know it was well received by most people, but like there was a lot of people saying it was like lazy and shit, and they didn't like the crafting behind it.
I think they were lazy because they didn't realize that there's a whole nother game under the fucking world. People are going like, oh, it looks the same. It's the same graphics. And then they go, oh shit, there's literally the equivalent of the world under the world.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad game, but fair,
Well,
I didn't play it. I'm just saying what I saw in headlines.
Well, I completely agree with what you're saying in the sense that I saw those reactions. If we pulled those people's reactions again, they would be like, oh, I just assumed that they wouldn't be that ambitious with the underworld.
Okay, but BG3 is literally so overwhelmingly positive that people are like your point earlier. They're having to say it's bad because it's too good. That's going to be hard. And then Starfield is a Bethesda-backed, Skyrim level launch title that's been hyped for way too many goddamn years. I think it's going to be very hard for Zelda to win Game of the Year.
I completely agree. I think right now it's Baldur's Gate 3 Game of the Year to lose right now, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I would put money on Baldur's Gate 3. I think the dark horse or the other contenders would be Zelda, and then potentially could be Starfield. But I think based on expectations, because right now Baldur's Gate 3 did not have the expectations it does have, and it exceeded them. And I think coming in and exceeding expectations goes way better with word of mouth and the buzz around a game than meeting high expectations. So people are going to look at Starfield and it's like, okay, this is a Bethesda game. Our expectations are very high. They need to prove themselves with Fallout 76. So for people to be overwhelmingly positive like they are with Baldur's Gate, it needs to fucking kill the game. It needs to be so good, it leaves no doubt. Whereas I don't think it's ever going to do that. I think it's going to be a solid 80%er for us, and it's going to be like, okay, and then the mods are going to make the game amazing. That's where we're going to be at. It's not going to be as bad, nowhere near as bad as Fallout 76, but nowhere near as good as like a Skyrim. What is your expectation? So like, it's going to be a solid game. What do you think it's going to be on a scale 1 to 10? Are you going with like
7 or 8?
I'm thinking like, yeah, 7 or 8. That's exactly where I'm going.
Like 8. I would be happy, like fairly satisfied if it's actually an 8. I'm expecting a 7. It will probably be a 6. Like that's my breakdown.
I hope it's not a 6.
I hope it's not a 6 too, especially because I spent $300 on the fucking pre-order.
Oh, you bought that?
I bought the big dick version. Yeah,
You got the watch and all that? God.
I did.
Close out this segment here with there's 6 games for Game of the Year. 6 games. Let's pick our 6.
They don't have a chance, but I still want to put Remnant 2 in the conversation.
Remnant 2. Okay, my dark horse will be Armored Core 6.
No shot.
Well, it has no shot, but it's from Soft, and so they might jerk them off a little bit and throw them on there.
Okay, yeah, fair. Yeah, fair. I'm going to go, I think Starfield is going to have a chance because of all the press, more than anything, probably more than the game.
Even if it's a 6 out of 10, I think it's still on there. Just because of how big the game is going to be. It's like full AAA, full funding from Microsoft. Let's get the obvious ones out of the way. Baldur's Gate 3 and Zelda, I think, are both going to be on the list.
We're up to 5 then.
5. So what is that final game? I'm going to go with Final Fantasy 16.
I think that's the answer.
Okay, let's say Starfield sucks ass. What's its replacement?
Well, Mortal Kombat 1's going to have to be pretty fucking good to get on the list. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah, Spider-Man 2.
Cool.
How about Warcraft Rumble, the Blizzard mobile game coming out?
I like where your head's at. I'm glad that you have the courage to say it. People don't want to hear it, but that's going to be a fire game. I think being nominated in this year is like almost on the level of like winning some years.
Actually, yeah, that's a good take. Like, this is a highly competitive year.
I don't know if like the history from like betting, or not betting, but history of voting is like very first player narrative focused, or if it's like hype based. I don't know how they like pick. Like in movies, there's like Oscar baity movies, but in Game of the Year, what is like a Game of the Year baity movie or a Game of the Year baity game? I don't know.
I think it's like publisher based. It's like for the most part, what I've seen, it's normally like a big name game from a big name publisher that got big name reviews. You know, it's the ones that IGN give 9 out of 9. I can't believe, I didn't cream my pants while playing it. Like those type of reviews almost seem to always win this stuff.
Yeah.
There's some obvious ones, which is like, Ragnarok or Elden Ring. They're like, yeah, okay, you're not going to win those ones. But like this year, I don't know how the people that pick the game of the year this year have a hard job.
Yeah.
Like there's legitimately like 5 options. I think it's going to be BG3. BG3 is also fairly inclusive. Big name publisher, big name game, very well received. It's a good PR pick. I legitimately people are saying D4, but look, I legitimately think that we all know where D4 is, but the people who are doing the game of the year and shit don't. And all they're going to see is the most sales of a game, like basically ever in Blizzard's history. They're going to see the gigantic amount of players and marketing that happened. I mean, there was fucking Megan Fox, right, reading the stuff on Twitter. BTS did a song, for Christ's sake. I'm saying they're going to D4 it also does have good cinematics and the story's decent. There's a world in which the campaign of D4 makes it on the game of the year list.
Yeah.
Like
it does.
That's what I'm saying. Like I'm not saying I believe it's game of the year, because let's be honest, it's not. But
it's not even close.
It's not even close. But it probably will make the list.
Oh man, that bums me out. That bumps off like Armored Core and Remnant. Like they have no shot of being on here.
They got no shot. There's no way that an award show company puts Remnant 2 or Armored Core. Well, Armored Core maybe. Remnant 2, nah. Over that, nah, probably not. You want to wrap it up there on that then?
Yeah, let's wrap it up.
Sounds good. I'm going to rate into my boy Kire. Go follow him. I will see you tomorrow, 11 a.m. Pacific. That is 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. Bye-bye.